cool. What are you drinking, Elizabeth? Se me antojó.
I drink coffee. You like it?
Oof, yes. Do I like coffee? Man, coffee is the best.
I love it too, teacher.
So, how was your week? Tell me.
Good.
How was your week? Tell me, Gabby, you start working, right, in the school?
Yes, teacher, I am working, but for this sick, it's very hard to go to the job and for the internet because it's not very good. That's why we have a lot of problems with the translation. And it's very good for me because I am going to know new words, how to speak, and I don't know how to say Frides.
Oh, the flow of the speed. So I thought you were working in a kindergarten. So it's not a kindergarten?
No, I am working with an engineer who is whose work in the ways. Saltillo, Durango, and they are going to introduce new machines. The technology is very incredible because the technology is used in these works, and I am going to translate, or I am going to translate with another partner the instructions how to handle these machines.
Okay. Pues qué machine. Okay. That's pretty cool.
This is my work.
I've been offered jobs as a translator. I don't like it.
It's very hard because, for example, my partner, he wants to translate word by word. It's impossible. Totally impossible. And I have a discourse in sometimes with this part. It's not very good, but for me it's good because I know a lot another words, another part of the English. That's why
it's very good. I personally have translated. My biggest project was a book, an instructions manual. It was like 600 pages. And dije hasta aquí. I didn't like it. I mean, I did it because of, I have something called hunger. I have something called need.
My project is how to know to handle these machines, and then I work then.
Oh, really?
This is my project because not a lot of person how to know to handle these machines.
Right. Le vas a decir, mira, pues ya te traduje, pero pues ahora ahí está, ¿no? Very good, excellent. Hey, Karen, that is a very cool pic. Where is it? What it was at the beach?
Yes, it's in Yucatan. It's a very, very beautiful beach. I think it's no Puerto Progreso, no, it's Puerto Chuburná in Mérida. It's not very known beach, but it's beautiful and it's full of sea stars and shells, beautiful shells. I love that beach. Hey, Gabby, congrats. I love translate. Enjoy it. You're going to learn a lot.
Karen, it's an opportunity And for me, it's a big opportunity for my older. I am 51 years old. That's why I need to work. I feel good. I feel with a lot of experience, and I need to project in another part of my life. And I like this because I said, Mr. Gerson, I translate, I am going to know how to handle these machines, and then I work then. That's why I take this project of translation.
Ah, very cool.
You're very hard worker, Gabby. That's great. And
Thanks.
you have very too much energy and everything. It's just wonderful.
Thanks, a lot of thanks.
Congratulations, Gabby.
Ciao, Laura, it's a pleasure to see you.
I know. How are you? I'm glad to hear everything. It's awesome.
Give me 1 minute.
Laura, and a lot of my partners is a pleasure.
Hello, Asu.
Hi,
Hi,
guys. How are you guys? Hi, Laura. Hi. I don't know Susana. Hi, Susana. I don't know you, but nice to meet you.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Gabby. I was listening to what you were saying, Gabby. It's a challenge. Translating is a big challenge.
Oye, Susana.
Yes, teacher.
Tú
Sí.
estás aquí en Irapuato, ¿verdad?
Sí, teacher. Yes.
¿Quién más está en Irapuato aquí? Nada más tú, ¿verdad? Ok. Es que me quedó mal el profesor de presencial. Ya tengo los alumnos esperando. ¿Será que pudieras ir tú al cubrir al maestro? Y te repongo esta clase.
¿En dónde, teacher? ¿En Défero de aquí de la Moderna?
Ajá, ahí con Claudia.
Ah, ok. Voy y lo pongo. Lo que pasa es que tengo iPad. Entonces es pequeña. No sé si, porque mi compu todavía no está al 100.
Ah, pero ¿para qué el iPad?
¿Para ponerles la clase?
Bueno, no, esa es una clase de inglés. O sea, que fueras a suplir al maestro. No sé si me explico.
Ok. ¿Ahorita ya, teacher?
Sí, ya me están esperando, ya todo el mundo me está hablando. Y el maestro no me contesta. Chihuahuas. No entiendo, dicen que no hay empleo, pero tampoco se ponen las pilas.
Ok.
Digo, si puedes, ¿verdad? Te lo agradecería.
No, sí, teacher, está bien.
Nada más son 4 alumnos.
Ok, teacher.
¿Sí? Déjame le digo a Claudia que te esperen entonces. Y ahorita,
Okay,
ahorita que termine la clase, ya me pongo de acuerdo y le hacemos un resumen de esta clase. Personalmente, ¿va? Ya nos ponemos de acuerdo.
Ok, teacher. Bye.
Vale, gracias, Susana. Déjame decirle a Claudia.
Teacher, I want to answer Susana. Could I do it?
¿Mande? ¿Say again?
I want to answer to Azucena. Could I do it?
Sure. I don't know what the Lucena asked, but yes, go ahead.
I was saying, give me a second. Somebody's at the door. Give me a second, please.
Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. The thing is, it's a little bit harder to get a teacher and, you know, physical teacher. So when it's Zoom, it's easier because we have plenty of teachers. Anyways, okay. So who's here? Katia, hello. Cindy. I think it's Brenda. Motose.
Hi, teacher. Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
If you could turn your camera on, that would be cool. All right, so we started last week saying that the learning styles refers to the uniques of how each learner receives and processes information through their senses, right? And that this new information is modified or is affected per se by, you know, culture, experience, preferences, and so forth. I'll give you an example. If you tell a 17, well, let's say, yeah, 17, 18-year-old girl the word sex, what does she think? You know, church bells, wedding gowns, commitment, the wedding, the engagement ring, no? But if I say the word sex to a 17-year-old boy, well, he would think something very different. So it does. The information that we receive is processed by different factors. Do you agree with this? Okay, cool. All right. And we have 4 different types of learnings: the visual, oral, the reading, writing, and the kinesthetic, tactile. Okay? Can everyone see my screen, right? Okay, cool. So we're going to start by the visual style. Can you read this, Elizabeth, please?
It says learning styles. The 4 learning styles. The visual learning style. Visual learners process information most effectively when the information is seen. Graphs, charts, flow charts, arrows, circles, hierarchies. Most people are visual learners.
Very good. This is the easiest per se and the most common way of learning, especially in Mexico. And I don't want to say malinchista or anything like that, but we rather watch the movie than read the book. Most of people like reading, correct? I mean, don't like reading. Most people like watching. So they learned through forms per se, graphs, charts, flow, mind maps. Mind maps are the best for visual learners. You understand mind maps? Yes. They're like a spider web, no? They have a center and then it goes like this. So you write in the center, for example, I don't know, vocabulary of traveling, no? And then you have one line with luggage, booking, the sightseeing, etc., etc., etc. Yes? And you understand hyperachis? We said the word last week. It means organigrama. I don't even know if it's a translation. It means organigrama, you know, has a, because it has some hierarchy. All right, cool. What about the oral learning? Can you read this? Is the Katia? You here? Yes, Katia.
Yes. The oral learning style. Oral learners process information most effectively when spoken or heard. Lectures and discussions. They like to talk and enjoy music and dramas. They are excellent listeners. Only few people are oral learners.
Very good. These guys are rare, but they love listening. And I say rare because they actually enjoy lecturing. They actually enjoy discourses, etc. Normally, let me tell you this. This is not a rule, but normally these students are problem child or a child problem. Let me explain why. Because they listen and they understand. And when a student is faster per se of listening and understanding than the other students, what happens to that student?
They distract, like I understand it, so I don't need to listen the other class or see the visual class.
Exactly. Pues ya lo entendí, maestro. And you can tell these students, pues ya terminé. And they break into Spanish, they break into playing, and you know, like for example, Albert Einstein. Have you ever read his biography? He was very bad at school. He had really bad grading, not because he didn't do the things. He had behavior issues because he listened, he understood, so he didn't need to, practice or anything. So he always got into problems. So anyways, that's part of nature. So you need to know and identify your students so you can actually be efficient to them. Like, for example, like we just read, lectures and discussions, talk, discourses, music, etc. Okay, so far so good. We're going to see in a moment. If you have any questions, hold them to the end, because we are going to then discuss the practical part in the classroom. Okay. And then we have the reading, writing, learning style. Read this, Laura.
Learning styles, the reading and writing learning style. These learners process information most effectively when presented in writing language format. They benefit more from teachers that use the blackboard. They recall information from their mind eyes. Many academics have a strong reference for this learning style.
Very good. So, is at the end, Laura, it says many academics have a strong preferences for this learning style. Why? Why do you think many teachers prefer writing on the board the sentences, prefer writing on the board the structures, the vocabulary? Why do you think is that? And it's a tricky question.
It's so they can use some kind of like mind maps kind of thing.
Well, no, excuse me. No. Hold on. I'll correct that over there. Mind maps are the visual. It's visual. It's a form, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, this is reading. This is writing. Letters, words, sentences. Karen, you raise your hand or okay, Karen.
Yeah, I was thinking that some people learn better writing because they can like repeat what they have heard. And some teachers, like you asked about the teachers, right? That why
Yes.
they like to write because I think they think that it can stand more in the mind of the students if the students copy the sentences. I think most of the teachers think that. No.
Okay. See, that is an utopic viewpoint, Karen, because you're a perfectionist. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But there is only also one more common reason. Elizabeth. Elizabeth and then Azucena.
What?
Elizabeth and then Azucena.
Okay. I don't know. I think that maybe it's a very useful tool to have all the information all the time in the blackboard. So you can write and you can delete words and add them. And the students all the time can see it. So you have the opportunity to write and delete and have that tool.
You are too good. A ver, Azucena.
I think because they are perfect students for a teacher, because they are like always in their place and they just follow instructions and they like it. I mean, if they finish an activity fast or faster than the others, you can tell them to start reading a book, or I think they are perfect students.
Good. Good.
Is that also a way to call their attention by writing on the blackboard?
No. Let me explain. Why many academics have a strong preference? Because it's the easiest. Ya sabes, tipo maestro culé. Entra y, okay guys, write, I'm going to write 10 sentences in the board, copy them. Exactly, Elizabeth. And we all seen this type of teacher, yes or no? And then on the next day, the same thing. Okay, now write 20 words and copy them. And then on the next day, this is the instruction and write them. It's the easiest. So I'm not satanizing this way of teaching or, you know, of learning, but it's not the only one. If you, and let me tell you this from a coordinator perspective. If you only do this, that means that you're not prepared enough. Because you could do, like Laura said, my maps. You could do pictures, images, not just writing something. See my point? Have you had this type of, have you had these classes with this type of teachers?
Yes.
What was your experience, Katia?
When I was in high school, I had a math teacher, and she used all the alphabet, like literally all the alphabet with exercise. And to this day, I don't recall everything of this class. It's just tired do that.
Of course, because you know, learning a style is okay, it's cool, but it's not the only learning style. See my point, teachers? Okay, very good. See, Laura?
Has that changed now that most of our classes have been online, and none of this, like, you don't have to use this type of ways to teach? Is that something that has changed with all of these new ways of teaching?
You asking me or telling me?
It's a question.
Okay. No. Let me tell you why. Because the online teaching, well, actually it depends on the platform that you use, you know. But normally Zoom or Google Classroom, excuse me, no Classroom, Meet, Google Meet, Microsoft Teams, etc., etc., etc. They all have these features that you can use for writing, for drawing, for presenting pictures. So you actually can have lots of resources. Let me tell you what I tell my teachers. I will tell my teachers in the classroom, in physical classroom, you will beg for a projector, yes or no? You know, like you will have a very cool PowerPoint presentation, and then you will project it into the wall, right? It will help you a lot in your classes. Well, with online classes, you always have a projector. You always have a PowerPoint presentation, a video, a YouTube, or an audio, or so forth. Even you can even have interviews to other people in other parts of the world. I have a company that I'm teaching, but not me, but my school is teaching. And we interview a guy from Tokyo. Pretty cool. So answering your question, Laura, from my standpoint and my experience, you do have more resources online than actually physical classroom.
But isn't it like, does that makes it like the same type of teacher that you mentioned as, like, like the Kool-Aid teachers that you just mentioned?
And let me tell you why. Let's imagine this for a moment. There is teacher A that we're going to call it Juanito Kool-Aid, okay? So he does a PowerPoint presentation with only words. Y hasta le pone, ¿no? I don't know, vocabulary, vacations. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. Boom, projected. And then we have super teacher B, le vamos a llamar Super Gerson. So he projects the PowerPoint, vocabulary for vacations. And then he has 10 pictures and a mind map with the words. What is the difference? Elizabeth?
You make students think.
Very good. See the difference, Laura?
Okay.
Right? So you can even be lazy teacher, let me put it this way, than a creative teacher. Okay, because yes, a PowerPoint presentation with a mind map and images does take time, obviously. You know, you have to download the pictures, you have to, you know, but at the end of the day, it's much better. Gabby.
Okay.
Thanks, teacher. The difference is because Mr. Gerson's once the students learned how to speak English, and the other only need to cover an hour for
Thank
this.
you. Thank you. That's my point. My point being, you have teacher A that only does because he has to. See? And it's sad to say, but it does happen. Ya sabes, el ingeniero frustrado que habla inglés y le tocó dar clases. Digo, pisé algunos callos, perdón, pero la neta es que sí. Or the teacher that wants to be a good teacher, well, then he will be, you know, creative, and we have preparation and stuff like that. Everybody agrees? Okay, cool. Then the kinesthetic tactile learning style. Can you read this? Who's here? Antonia, hello.
Hello, teacher. Sorry, I am too late.
That's okay. Ya sé que no te importa mi clase, pero no hay problema. Go ahead.
No, that's not true. And the kinesthetic tactile learning style. These learners process information actively through physical means. They like practice and simulation of the topics being studied. They gesture when speaking. They are poor listeners. They lose interest in long speeches. As a result, they don't usually do well at school.
Very good. These guys, like my mom's told me, my dear mommy, bueno, que tienes gusanos en el, you know, these guys move a lot. They move around, and it's okay. It's really annoying, but they do, okay? So they like practice the simulation. In other words, if you're talking about vacations, you will have a role play. If you're talking about hobbies, maybe you will have a presentation in front of the classroom. Okay, you can even have students perform some sort of a small theater play, you know. You're going to be the tree, you're going to be the dog, you're going to be, and everybody has a participation. They love that. See, Antonia?
Teacher, I think the children, the most of the children are kinesthetic people. I think that, and I think it's more difficult to give class to them.
It's yes. Well, the thing is that it's difficult because you need to keep them busy. That's the only solution. And this is what I'm telling you. It's a premise for you as a teacher. If you have kinesthetic children, keep them busy. And I don't mean sitting, writing. That's even worse. I mean creating the material. Okay. So, for example, if you identify 3 or 4 students like that, you will ask them to bring, I don't know, like play doll. And okay, let's talk about tools. Let's create the tools, or cutouts. Do you understand cutouts? When they cut words or phrases out of a magazine, and they have to order them, they love them. Okay, they are poor listeners. And let me make an emphasis on this. Porque estos chavos les vas a hablar, hey, Juanita, Juanita, Juanita. And they are immersed in what they're doing. Don't get mad. Don't take it personal. It's not you. They're in the rollo. They're really into what they're doing. This is my experience because I was very upset. Bueno, Chihuahua, te estoy hablando. Entonces te contestan, pues aquí estoy. But that's what happens. Okay? So don't take it personal. Very good. They don't like to be told. They don't like long discourses. They're more, and the word is practical. They like to practice and take something with the hands. So far, so good? Questions? Azucena, you're too quiet today. You're sick?
No, one of my purposes for today is to be quiet in class.
Shut up! Hold on a second. Let me see what happens to my... Oh, yes.
Because this is my last class, so I have to be memorable.
What happened? What are you saying? Why is your last class?
No, Azu.
Yeah, because I have been here like for 3 years. I'm like a fossil here. So this is my last class. So I'm gonna be quiet, just observing.
She's how do you call it? She's sad. She's nostalgious.
Yeah, I will miss you, and I will miss my late breakfast because of this.
Right. By the way, Susana works for the Federal now. She has some classes.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
And I will apply the TKT in October, hopefully.
Yes.
Yay!
Cool.
Thank you.
All righty.
I have
So
one
now,
question.
sorry, Karen?
Yes, I have one question about that. There is like you settle a date for the TKT exam, but it's just once a year that this exam is presented?
No, bueno, is before the pandemic, let's put it that way. Before the pandemic, it was three times a year. But since 2020, no ha habido una hasta octubre.
Oh, really?
Yes, but that's because of pandemic. I don't know next year.
Yeah, I understand. I just wanted to know. It comes to my mind, that question right now.
I might have to take it like probably next year. This year, it's been kind of tough for me, but hopefully it actually comes again soon. Let me know, please.
Yeah, no worries. At the end of the day, schools should understand pandemic, right? But well, that's a whole different story. We can, hello Brenda, we can discuss that later on. Okay, so now let's talk about the practical activities that we can do with each of the learning styles. Okay, so regarding the visual learning style, can you read the first one, the first point, Gabi?
Thanks, teacher. Replace words with symbols or initials.
Very good. So in that, for example, you're conducting a reading class, okay? Visual learners don't like reading. But if you give an instruction similar to this, okay, guys, circle the verbs in past. Double underline the verbs and gerunds. And draw a square in the nouns. What happens to that reading to the visual learners? It becomes boring or interesting?
Of course,
That's interesting for them.
It's interesting, exactly, because then they are actually drawing and it becomes visual. Okay? Also, color coding. No, like for example, underline in red the mistakes of verbs. Underline in yellow the nouns. Underline in orange the adjectives. Blah 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 blah. It becomes interesting to them because it becomes visual. Okay, understand? So we replace or we add some sort of form to the words with symbols or initials. Gabi, you want to say something?
Yes, teacher. The students for this way, they love to participate, and they are going to be very active in our class with this like of activity.
Very good, excellent. What about the next one, Katia? Number 2.
Is translate concepts into pictures and diagrams.
Mind mapping. The concept is the gerunds. And then you have eating, writing, running, blah, 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 blah. Or diagram, a diagram. Okay, let's create a comic consequential. No? So it's something that it has some drawings of forms. Number 3 is the Karen.
yeah, underline or highlight your notes or textbooks with different colors.
Okay, color coding, we discussed that. Laura, next one.
Practice turning your visual backs into words.
So they give you give them, excuse me, a comic. You know, the drawings with no words. And then you say, tell the story. Write the story. So it's visual because they're, you know, seeing the pictures and then writing them. All right. Azucena, the last one.
Make flashcards or key information with words, symbols, and diagrams.
Always have flashcards of key information. What is a flashcard, Antonia?
I don't know, teacher.
Okay, who wants to tell me what a flashcard is? Katia. No, es que no. Elizabeth, perdón.
I think it's a card with a picture and behind there is a word of the meaning of the picture.
Very good. Not necessarily the words. It can only be the picture. Or it can only be the words. But it's something that you post and leave them there for references. We can do this in Zoom too. We can share and you know, the screen. Gabi.
Yes, I was to tell about this because a flashcard is, I imagine, and then they are going to tell me the word of the picture.
Okay, give me an example.
And I don't know, an apple, a picture with an apple, only an apple. And then we are going to ask them, what is it? And they are going to me an apple.
An
I think
iPhone. Very good.
An apple. That's why.
Okay, good. Very good. Excellent. By the way, a flashcard can be used in 1001 different situations. So always keep them. All right, cool. The oral style, Laura, number 1.
The oral style is attend lectures and tutorials.
They love it. My wife, for example, she buys a cell phone or whatever it is, and she spends the whole night listening tutorials about the gadget. Yo no, yo me desespero, yo así de, bye. Students like that, they love it. Lecturing, discourses, and you can tell, no, teacher, miss, can you repeat the audio? Todos los demás, oh, ya. Pero Elizabeth, miss, el audio otra vez. Love it, no, it's okay. Number 2, Katia.
Discuss topics with your instructor and the other students.
Very good, they like talking about it. Antonia.
Sorry. Put summarized notes on tape and listen to them.
This is easier now. Back in the day when I studied, or when I started teaching, this was hard. It's one of the best homework ever. Have your students record themselves, in a reading or whatever, or in an interview, whatever it is, but just record themselves and then have them listen. It's one of the best homeworks. It was difficult back in the day because, we didn't have a lot of gadgets and we didn't have a lot. Now with internet, now with TikTok, ask your students to do TikToks about the English classes and they will love it. They will love to do that. Well, the next one goes with that, no? Tape record your lectures. Record your lectures and once in a while listening again. The last one is Antonia.
Next, teacher, join us.
The last one.
When recalling information or solving problems, talk out loud.
Yes, you can tell that, Miss, ya la acabo. And she's in front of you, no? That's okay. Pay attention to them. Okay, cool. Next one. So far, so good? Okay, cool.
So far, so good.
The reading, writing, learning. Number 1 is Laura.
Write out important information again and again.
You can tell a person that is like that, he has a lot of post-its. Have you seen one of those? Lots of post-its around the computer, around the notebook, or even in the notebook, writing little notes. That's okay. How can you do it in the classroom? Like, for example, if you have a reading, excuse me, if you have a reading, then you will ask your students to write comprehension comments along the reading in the margin. Try that, they love it. Read paragraphs 1 or 2, line 15. What does Juanito mean? Right on the margin. Los niños que no son reading, writing, hacen su cochinero. That's okay. The boys and girls that are reading and writing learning styles, hasta con regla lo ponen en diferente color y that's okay too. It's part of nature. Number 2, Karen.
Read your notes silently.
Yes.
Silently, sorry.
No, that's okay. Thank you. So they would actually mumble when they read. They look like rosarios, no? Number 3, Katia.
Organize any diagrams into statements.
Good. The opposite. You give them a mind map about words in vacations, and they have to use each of the word in one sentence. Okay, and that's okay. Just don't do it every day.
Can you repeat it again, please?
Okay, so you will give your students a mind map, for example, about words and vacations. So then the instruction would be, Juanito, use these words in a sentence or in a paragraph.
Okay.
So they will select the words and write a sentence or a paragraph or whatever.
Thank you.
No, thank you. Rewrite the ideas. Yeah. The last one is Elizabeth.
Make flashcards of words and concepts that need to be memorized.
These type of students love post-its and they love index cards. You know index cards? You know the little things that you write for explanations? Yes, thank you, Laura. You can, you're reading, writing. Okay, now I know why you questions. Okay, that's cool. That's okay, Laura. Nobody's perfect. No, just kidding. you just need to no, that's okay. That's fine. It just you can't use that all the time. That's my point. Okay, now with the cell phones, you can there is a lot of apps for index cards or post-its. There's nothing wrong to use them in classroom, especially online classes. Okay, so like OneNotes or Google has one free that is called as the Google Keep or Keep Google or something like that. It's for notes taking, and it's pretty cool. Ask the students to do it, and then okay, guys, for homework, send me a note about today's class, a summary, or what your opinion. I don't know. So they write something and send it to you. Okay, cool. Am I going too fast or is it okay? Cool. And finally, the kinesthetic tactile learning. Number 1 is Azucena.
Yes. Sit near the instructor in classroom situations.
This is an online, this is a physical classroom. A kinesthetic student will also, will be moving around. So you have them sit next to you so you can control it, or him or her. In an online situation, you can simulate that by keeping busy. Like, for example, if Laura is a kinesthetic girl, I will ask, okay, Laura, pay attention to the rest of the classmates if they have the camera on. To give you an example, ¿no? ¿Qué va a hacer Laura? No, hombre. Como ventilador. Y nada más tantito se descuida Gaby. Miss, mira, aquí Gaby ya apagó su cámara. That's okay. Just keep them busy. Right? Number 2 is Antonia.
Read out loud from your textbook and notes.
These guys they read, and when they read, they shout. For some reason, I don't, you know, I don't understand. I consider myself kinesthetic, but I hate that. That's by nature. Number 3 is the Katia.
Copy coupons onto large writing surface, EA, chalkboard, or easel board.
In other words, have students do presentations. Okay, Gabby, you're going to talk about the evolution of English. No, pues Gabby se pone a hacer un timeline with pictures, and that's okay. That's kinesthetic. Okay. Next one is Elizabeth.
Copy key points using word processing software.
Or nowadays, the apps, no? The post-it apps. Next one, Susana.
Yes. Which one is the next one? Sorry.
Oh my Lord in heaven. Stop watching porn, please, and pay attention.
I'm not
Interesting.
watching. I have never done that, but just tell me which one is the next one.
Listen to audio tapes. Risa te delata, o sea.
Listen to audio tapes of your notes while exercising.
See, when you go to the gyms, because believe it or not, I go to the gym, I listen to audiobooks or, you know, or your own classes, no? That's pretty cool. Next one, Antonia.
Taking information through field trips, laboratories, trial and error, exhibits, collections, and hands-on examples.
Very good. Now, this is one of the best things, but remember, we're talking about the ideal situation. This is very difficult to do in a, you know, in a school. It was even difficult to do it in a physical school. Now on Zoom is even worse. But wait, hey, you can at least try and say for Monday, on Sunday, take your parents to the zoo and bring a report on Monday. But you know, you can't control that, so it's difficult, right? Next one is Gabi.
Thanks. Put real life examples into your note summary.
Exactly. What did you do last week? Tell me. No, hombre, los kinesthetic guys hasta con las manos. Yes, we went to the zoo and we look at giraffe and we, right? Next one is the Karen.
Yeah, recall experiments and role play.
Exactly. If you can have this is more experiments are more like you know, chemistry classes and stuff like that, but you still can do it like let's do volcano, no, and tell me the parts of the volcano. I don't know. Or role play. The students love role play. Antonia, you're the mom, and Katia and Elizabeth are the daughters. Pero Katia has a very dirty and difficult and very bad secret. Elizabeth knows it, but you suspect. Create a conversation. And students love it. So always do a role play in a game or something that is even controversial. That's fine because it motivates students to talk. Okay. Last one is Laura.
Use pictures and photographs that illustrate an idea.
Visual aids. Lots of visual aids. Okay, very good. This exercise is going to be homework. Well, we discuss it later on. All right. Before, oh no, excuse me. Before going into here, you want to take a pee break? It's 11:10. Yes, okay, so we'll meet here back at 11:20. Okay, so,
Yeah.
all right, cool. And have your homework from 2 weeks ago ready to do it now, okay? When we come back. So I'll see you here in 10 minutes or 15 minutes.
Teacher,
Ready, guys?
You scare me.
Ah. No soy tan feo.
you suddenly speak and I was like jumping.
Yo dije, no, que pues, así nos llevamos, va. No hay nada mejor que un cafecito. Llevo, ahora, 5 años, 4 años y medio, casi 5, cero alcohol. Pero se me incrementó mi afición por café. Pero bueno, está bien. Sí, cero alcohol. No, mis juergas eran de miércoles, jueves, viernes y sábado.
Felicidades.
Thank you.
It takes a lot of courage.
Yes, well, yes. I
Yes,
had to.
congratulations, Gerson. It's not easy, but it's healthy and it's good in many senses.
Yes, I was. Ahora, 7 years ago, yes, almost 8, I got divorced, and I got in a phase of my life that I'm not really proud of it, you know, and made a lot of money, but my lifestyle wasn't really healthy or quiet or stable, if I may say. So then after 3 years of living la vida loca, I got into a life coach, friend of mine, and me coachó y dije, pues, ¿para qué la ando tarugueando, va? Vamos a hacer las cosas bien. And then I realized the alcohol was one of the things that affected me. So, así de la noche a la mañana dije, pues, agarré mi cava, de una cava tan bonita, caray. Eso sí me dolió porque me costó un buen de lana, pero bueno. I took my cava y a la basura con todo y todo. Tenía torres, champán, todo. Hice feliz a varios pepenadores. So, yes. But now, todo empezó porque café se me incrementó.
But you know, the ideal is to be able to, drink, but not get alcoholic or drunk. But when you can do that, is this the healthier to live it? Because sometimes family problems, the life is not stable. So I really, I am really proud that you made it.
Thank you. Yes, I had problems, and I wanted to go back. You know what I mean, and to be stable again, happy again. So I cut everything from one night over 2 overnights. Sí, Gaby.
Thanks, teacher. It's very strong experience to when for me it's very a strong experience because I live the same, and I lost 15 years, and for me it's very important when truly I love this person. I'm sure that balance, self-love is important to one. Entonces, for me, it's very hard to have this class of experience.
It is really hard. You know what the hardest was, Gabi? Leaving my daughter. That was the hardest thing that I ever done, you know. And but I just couldn't live with her mom anymore. You know, things happen, and I'm not saying anything bad about her. It's just we were two human beings, difficult to live together, you know. So
Yes, yes, of course.
but,
I think it's very important the love of one for
one self, love self, sí, te entiendo. Amor propio, ¿no? Dignidad.
That other person is an important because that person don't love us. And for me, it's very important to understand that for separate.
Yes. Azul, ¿quieres comentar? No?
What you're saying is important because when someone gets divorced, we normally listen to the women's experience, and we say, "Oh, poor girl, or poor woman, her husband was mean to her," and things like that. But I think listening to a man talking about it in front of a class who's been broadcasting in YouTube, I think that's brave, and I think that's something you learn from. So cheers.
Thank you. Cheers. No, thank you.
Congratulations, and it takes a lot of, but I've been trying to leave coffee for a long time too, because it's also addictive. It's very addictive. And I think at the end of the day, I mean, addictions are addictions no matter what they are, you know. Incluso los hermosos rayos del sol queman si te expones demasiado a ellos. Entonces,
yes.
It is very brave for someone to do it, but it takes a lot of courage. My dad has been smoking for maybe about 70 years approximately, and he got a little sick of one of his lungs. Oof. So he just left cigarettes, like, and it's very difficult for him, but he did it. But I mean, I don't think that we have to get to a point or wait to a point that someone is very sick to make changes in our lives. But the thing is that it is very interesting because going through difficult situation, it doesn't, like, it could be also very difficult for a person to break a relationship with another person, or even with a friend, or with jobs, you know, because at the end of the day, you get married with a job, or you get, you know, so attached to a best friend, and whenever something breaks, it's as painful. It's almost as painful, maybe not as painful as a divorce, but it's still, at the end of the day, is very painful for that to overcome.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And then so anyways, pues here we are. Okay, so my name is Gerson. I'm addicted to sex. Oh, excuse me, different word, different group. Mira, Michi. Okay, so tell me your bad joke. Tell me your homework before moving on, because we need the homework so we can move on to the next topic. Ni se acuerdan, ¿verdad, choros? Yes, thank you, Elizabeth. Sí, gracias por being responsible en Gaby. Y el Michi. A ver, primero Gaby and then Elizabeth.
Thanks, teacher. You told us we need to make a sentences and we are going to make the musical, interpersonal, visual, etc. Is right?
Kind of. We said that you need to ask somebody what activities they would prefer. And then that activity, you will identify if it's a kinesthetic person or a musical person or,
yes, of course.
For example, okay, so go ahead.
I asked to Helen and he told me he likes to sing when he talk about.
To sing,
excuse me?
Sing? You mean sing?
Yes, of course. Helen likes to sing when she takes a bath.
Okay, so?
I think it's musical, interpersonal, and visual.
Visual. Sí, mi mente vuela, Gaby. So you need to explain that to me. Why is that visual?
Okay, I make a mistake in this part.
Te la sacaste de la manga. No, me equivoqué, híjole. Okay, continue, Gaby.
Ricardo, don't try to talk to Eduardo because he's very aggressive. I think it's interpersonal, linguistic, and in this case, I think it's visual because he's so aggressive in his movements. I think so.
That would be kinesthetic instead.
Okay.
That would
Okay.
be kinesthetic.
This is my homework.
Okay, thank you, Gaby. Elizabeth?
Okay, I asked to an old student, and she told me that she preferred activities like singing. She likes to learn English by singing. She loves to sing songs in English, and she likes to be around people. She likes to have friends, learn with people around her, and activities in group. So I think that she's a musical person and an interpersonal person.
Very good.
And she loves to sing. So you did something like we have to choose a topic to teach.
Yes.
For example, simple present. So I chose simple past. And she loves the Beatles. And she loves Coldplay. So I chose a song that she likes, Yellow from Coldplay.
Which one?
And
Yellow.
there is a song, Yellow. And in that
song?
The boat.
Okay.
She loves the boat. But I choose Coldplay and because there is a song that contains a phrase with simple past and with were and was. So there are two sentences and she loves to sing. So I choose the activity of sing along. Maybe she can do it with other partners and sing that song and highlight the phrase with simple past.
Very good, excellent. Sing along is very good. I would suggest have some sort of semi-mechanical activities such as fill in the blanks. Take out some words from the lyrics and then have your student listen to it and then complete it. That would make it more interactive. That's all. Very good. You should have chosen Yesterday from the Beatles. Stolen Pass. All right, so Asu and then Karen.
I didn't listen, sorry.
Your homework?
I don't have my homework.
Okay. Pues tienes la manita arriba, pues. Por usted
no. Sorry.
Okay, Karen.
Sorry, I was looking for the page. Well, I talked to 4 people of different ages.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is Sammy. I literally asked them how would they like to learn English, and each one of them told me some things like the same, some different. Sammy says that he would love it watching videos of his favorite artists. So I immediately thought that he is kinesthetic. He write down kinesthetic and musical.
Good.
Lenny gave me a strange answer. He told me that he liked examples. I was trying to fix him in one of the intelligences.
Now, but what kind of example?
I thought that maybe is listening or visual. I don't know.
Yeah, but what kind of examples?
Because examples, I mean, she just told me that you see an example. Well, I don't. I didn't ask.
You sound
There
like
is a way. No, I think it was.
You sound like a robot, Karen. Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto.
Sorry.
Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto, pero no se entendió.
Because he is a.
I hear you. Ya se fue. Perdóname. Ok. Sorry. Una broma nada más. Ok, who else has homework? Antonia.
I asked a student what kind of learning it's better for her. She told me that she prefers role plays. She likes to speak a lot with other students. And I think she's a kinesthetic person. And my daughter is my student nearer. And she's also kinesthetic person because she always sees a movie on the chair.
¿Cómo se mueve? ¿Cómo se mueve?
Yes, and for example, she needs a Play-Doh in her hands for learning, for pay attention.
Okay, good. Very good, thank you. Sorry. All right, thank you very much. I'm sure you did a great job, Karen. You always do. Your connection is very bad. I'm sorry about that, but I'm sure you did a great job. All right, let's move on. Ay, no es cierto, no es cierto. Hold on. Yes. Okay. Yes. Very good. So, the study of language. Can you read introduction, Katia? Please.
Yes. Introduction. The language study in this case focus on the structure and use language forms. Studying structure and use. We can use this concept to teach the morphology of forms, the syntax of phrases, clauses, and sentences, vocabulary, including meaning and their lexical grammar, pronunciation, spelling.
Very good. So everything that has to do with language, it's about the study of language, right? And the language, it has different elements, you know, morphology, phonetics, rules, etymology, etc., and etc., etc. Okay, we're not going to be too deep in this because we're not linguistics, right? We're only English teachers, but we do need some sort of introduction to this thing. Okay. All right. Good.
Person, I have a question.
Yes.
Can you, it's because I don't know that, can you go back a little bit? What is
Yes.
morphology? What?
Wait, let me see cómo me regreso.
Ay, sorry.
Es que estoy usando la Mac. Okay. The morphology of forms.
Of form.
Morphology, the morpho is the Greek for form. Okay. For example, when a capullo goes into a butterfly, it's a metamorphosis. Correct? So the morpho, o cuando ves una persona que está así media tipo Picasso, está amorfa, ¿no? Sorry, bad joke. The morphology of the words or the forms is how the words change or are transformed.
Like suffixes and prefixes?
Like a prefix, suffix, like a irregular verb, like a gerund, everything that changes, it's a more, it has to do with the morpho, with the morphology.
Okay, so the morphology of forms in language learning would be how, well, how words change?
Exactly. For example, you're teaching did and didn't in questions. So you have to teach that even though a question is in past, you write did or didn't, and the verb is in present, ¿no? Algo así vas a enseñar. So that is a morphology. You don't tell the student that this has to do with the morphology because students don't care about that. Again, we said that we're not linguistics. Our students were not going to be linguistics, correct? It's only for you to know the introduction of the different types of the grammar, or, you know, not grammar, but the language.
Okay, I got it. Thank you.
No problem. So techniques for this. We have demonstration. Can you read this, Elizabeth, please?
Okay, demonstration. Here the teacher presents a situation which shows the language in action in the modeling in the language ourselves.
Continue.
Okay. The language can be used in a text which clearly shows what it means. We can also use pictures or various items of Laia to demonstrate meaning. E.g., warm up at the beginning of the class.
Very good. This is a demonstration is when you do something to demonstrate something to your students. For example, you give an instruction. Okay, let's talk about with your partner your last vacations. A ver, Juanito, I'm a student A, you're student B, and then you demonstrate. See? Also, it has to do with modeling a meaning. For example, apple. Repeat, apple. That's modeling, no? Modeling also has to do with you conduct the activity to show them. For example, let's role play about a superhero. Example, I am Superman. And let me tell you, blah, 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 blah. See what I mean? Now, parentheses. This is very good. You must do it every time you give an instruction. Why? What would happen if you just give the instruction, whatever the instruction is, and you don't demonstrate it?
Students don't get it. Like, they need to see what they are going to do.
Yes, very good. Students don't get it. Okay. What Azucena said is very good. Never, ever, ever assume a student knows. That's a premise for the teachers, okay? See, guys, questions? No. Understand? Yes. And everybody fails at the exam. So no, never assume. Okay, Elizabeth, you wanted to say something too.
I wanted to say that if they don't have the basis or if they are not understanding very well, they can't imitate or copy or do what we want to teach.
Simple as that. If you don't demonstrate your instruction, te va a pasar tipo así de, Miss, ¿y aquí qué iba? Miss, ¿y aquí era que pongo? Miss, ¿y ahora qué digo? So demonstrate it. Now, once you have demonstrate, once you have model, that's the word, once you have modeled the action or the verb or the pronunciation or whatever you are modeling, it's only one time, teachers. Because this is one of the favorite for teachers. Because it's the easiest.
I think that the more I learn a little bit, the more I know I have no damn idea what I'm going to do. the more I see these things is the more I know nothing.
Bueno, Sócrates lo dijo. Bueno, también Cantinflas lo dijo. Yo solo sé.
That I don't know anything.
Eso no lo dijo Cantinflas, lo dijo Sócrates. Y es una técnica del filósofo para enseñar. Ahorita le explico eso. What you just said, Laura, it's the first step of learning. ¿Sale? Les voy a dar una cátedra, me vale gorro si se aburren.
The first step to learning or the first step to leave everything?
No.
It can either be one or the other.
No, to learn. Let me tell you why. Laura. In life, when we are learning, we have two things. The pedagogical approach, ¿sale? Que ya sabes, los pedagogos que es primaria, secundaria, prepa, universidad, even, que te están formando. Everybody agrees? Pedagogy approach is when you are being formed in your education, ¿sale? The second approach is Andragogy. You can Google it. It really exists. The Andragogy, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but la andrología es cuando ya estás formada y es desaprender para aprender. I give you an example. You're having a job. I give you this example. Di un taller de esto. Remember the picture, las secretarias del seguro, del trabajador social. ¿Todos conocen esas? Mal encaradas, gorditas, no me hables, soy superior a ti, bla, 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 ok. Ellas tenían máquinas de escribir. Imagínate la señora que tiene a punto de jubilarse y en ese año le cambian a computadora con un sistema nuevo. Thank you, Susana. Andragogy, thank you. Imagínense la resistencia al cambio. Como tú lo dijiste, Laura, in that moment, they had two things. O cambiaban o se iban. ¿Sí, Laura? So, the one that they had to remain working had to change. Y eso es la analogía. Susana?
This is what happened to, I don't mean to offend anyone, but this is what happened to all teachers. Now that pandemic started, they needed to give online classes and they didn't know how to use a computer well. They know, I don't know, everything by the book on how to teach a class and set procedures and things like that. But if you put them, and I saw that a lot in the, among my friends, if you put them in front of a computer and you tell them you need to give a class, you need to connect to Zoom, and this is the link, and they get like lost. And they have been this learning, I don't know if that's correct. They have been learning a new style.
Mm-hmm.
So it gets, they get frustrated, of course, because everything they know and they have been living for years. So the more you get to know how to teach a class, the more you don't know how to teach a class.
Yes, but then when you recognize it, like Laura said it, then you're ready to learn. Porque si Laura hubiera dicho, fíjate la diferencia, a lo que dijo a esto, no, es que yo así no lo hago, teacher. Y créanme que me ha tocado gente así. Así, students like yo, no, maestro, es que yo llevo 20 años dando clases y así nunca lo hacemos. En ese momento en mi mente digo, pues está chido, no te contrato.
But is the evolution? There's a quote in Spanish which says, o te adaptas o...
Sí. Se llama resiliencia, ¿no? My point being, Laura, don't get desperate. What you just said is the first step for you to grow. Como dijo Laura, si no lo haces, te mueres. Si no te adaptas, te mueres. No, hola. Y Gaby.
Yes, teacher, these kinds of person, for them is the first knowledge is the best. And for me, it's very important to have the obligation to update oneself to open our fields of opportunity. Will I can't. That why it's very important to be open of my mind to receive another knowledge. It's very
good.
important.
Thank you, thank you. I'll give you an example of my school, De Fero. De Fero had, before the pandemic, and Katia está aquí, no me dejará mentir, had 2 branches. We have full of students before the pandemic, ¿no? Bendito Dios. La pandemia se vino, y se acuerdan, en la pandemia no sabíamos que íbamos a dar un año, ¿se acuerdan? Era una cuarentena. So we closed. Al mes vi que no podía pagar la renta, dejé una casa, me fui a la otra, cerré una sucursal, y en ese momento I had 2 options. Evolve online classes, o me espero al fin que ya va a terminar la cuarentena. Bendito Dios, mi esposa, que le beso las patas, me cae. Me dijo, no, hay que hacerlo en línea. Ok. Yo todavía dije, bueno, pues tenemos una cuenta de Zoom o 2 y ahí los que quieran ir, ya va a terminar de todas maneras. Bendito Dios, I evolved. Tenemos que, Azucena y Laura, Antonia también trajo conmigo. Alrededor, Katia, tú estás en el grupo, alrededor de 200 alumnos, ¿no? Una cosa de esas. So, it has to do with that, Laura. Okay? So don't get desperate. Promise that?
I'll do my best.
All right, no. Se dice, sí, teacher, te prometo. A ver, repeat after me. Handsome teacher Gerson, I promise.
I promise in my head.
All right, good.
I know.
Good,
Thank you.
Laura.
Thank you. Appreciate
Cool.
it.
All righty. Sí, porque si no vas a hacer un college teacher, ¿eh? Así tipo de, es que yo llevo 5 años dando clases y nunca lo hacemos así. No, Laura. Explanation. This is one of my favorite. This is actually a real picture, eh? From one of my former teachers that work for me. Can you read this, Elizabeth, please?
Explanation. We can explain the construction of language in diagrams using the board or overhead projector. We can also use finger pointing to show how contractions are made. Avoid Spanish at all costs.
This is one of the best, one of the easiest, y el coco of English teachers. Because your TTT should be minimal. Pero como somos maestros y como somos bien chiles y como queremos dar la cátedra, nos aventamos el choro. But that's not correct. The students don't need choro. You just explain a little bit to demonstrate, to facilitate, to show, to instruct, and that's it. Because if you elaborate too many or too much explanation, number one, you're going to break into Spanish. Porque no te van a entender. No Spanish. And number two, remember that in your class, who does the English or, the talking? Who needs to practice English? You or the students?
Students.
Exactly. So if you keep talking, students won't be able to practice. So explanations, yes. Explain with mind maps, explain with gesturing, explain with projector, minimal. Okay, for example, what we're having here is not an English class. I'm lecturing you. I'm talking, because my aim is not for you to practice English. My aim is that you learn how to teach English. But in your actual classroom, whether it's in physical or in Zoom, your aim is the students to practice English, okay? All right. And finally, the discovering, can you read this? Porque son las 12, Katia.
Yes, a student could be encouraged to understand new language by discovering by themselves in a text or by looking at grammatical evidence in order to work out a grammar rule.
This is good, well prepared. If you have everything surrounding for them to be discovering, this is not good por secundaria o primaria. Primaria todavía, pero secundaria y prepa no. Because they are forced to take English. Así que la actitud no te ayuda. That's a whole different story. We'll discuss that later. And then we have the drills. Remember the drills, the mechanical, semi-mechanical, and critical thinking. Laura, accurate reproduction. Can you read this?
Accurate reproduction. Teachers ask students to repeat new words, phrases, or sentences in a controlled way, correcting them immediately and modeling for them. DTIS.
No, it's DT1. Drill 1 is mechanical. Mechanical. When you ask them to repeat your word, when you ask them to read a sentence, it's mechanical. Remember that? We have discussed that earlier. And then the number 2, immediate creativity. Azucena.
Yes. Once students have an understanding of the meaning, use and construction of the language, use a construction of the language form, we can ask them to create their own sentences using the language form. Drill
Number 2 is semi-mechanical.
Drill number 2.
Very good. Fill in the blanks. Now you're asking to construct part of the language. Fill in the blanks, unscrabble the sentence, unscrabble the paragraph, etc. And then the questions. Antonia.
Check questions. We can use check questions to see if the students have understood meaning and use comprehension questions after grammar presentation on the board.
Very important. Comprehension questions are not typical questions such as ¿la entendieron? Any questions? Any doubts? No, because that doesn't mean. Comprehension questions is direct questioning. For example, if you're teaching present perfect, okay, Elizabeth, tell me, and I give you a picture of teacher Gerson in the beach. Tell me what has he done in the beach? Pues es que he has traveled 12 hours. He has lived there for 2 years, blah, 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 blah. That is comprehension questions. Okay? Okay, good. Excellent. There we go. All righty. Questions? Yes, Elizabeth?
Yes, I have a question. In one part, it says that we have to avoid to talk in Spanish.
Yes.
But my question is, it's really bad if we say some words in Spanish?
You have to, okay. You have to, first of all, you need to know your students. Okay?
Yeah.
Secondly, what you need to avoid is translating. I'll give an example. You give an instruction, okay, a very stupid example, eh? Guys, open your books, abran sus libros. That is bad because you make your students lazy. And their mind is, ¿qué dijo? Ah, ahorita me dice. So my point being is, if you want to say some words for fun, maybe for give a new word that is very difficult to explain, okay. But if you're given an instruction, if you're presenting something new and you tell them in Spanish, you're making them lazy. That's why your explanation should be minimal, and you need to do a lot of use a lot of resources, flashcards, audios, pictures, etc.
And if they really need it, I can do it. It's because I remember that when I started to learn in the first courses, I didn't know English at all. So my teachers talk in English all the class in my first classes, and I asked them what it does mean. I don't understand, and they told me I can't speak in Spanish. Nothing. And all the class I feel lost. I didn't understand anything. So my point is, if they need it, or if they are really lost, can I use one word, 2 words to explain?
Well, let me ask you this. Aren't you grateful to that teacher of yours? Because now you speak very good English. And you were forced to learn it.
Well, now, yeah. But in that moment, it was very frustrated.
Oh, yes, it is.
For example, the word where. I didn't know what it does mean. And I was like, teacher, what is where? And she told me, where? Where is the principal? Here or there?
Very good explanation.
And I was, what is the principal? What principal means? And I was like, I don't understand you. And she told me, sorry, I can't say anything in Spanish, because they have letreros.
Signs?
That say, signs that say no Spanish. And she told me the school is recording us, so I can't speak in Spanish. And it was very frustrating for me because I can't understand anything. If no one day, it was for 1-2 weeks. I was really.
What happened
lost.
to the third week?
A kind of different. But
See my point?
It was so hard.
It is hard, but that's the best, Elizabeth, for real. Mira, como coordinador, te digo, I never, bueno, no quiero decir en absolutos. I should never send a new teacher to teach basic. Experienced teachers should be teaching basic levels. ¿Por qué?
Because the first courses, the beginners are the most difficult.
Because they're no Spanish. So they have to do a lot of resources. Cognates, por ejemplo, si tienes que usar Spanish, use cognates. You don't understand cognates? Similar words similar to Spanish to English. Information. Sexy person, things like that. So when you use that, students understand and it's still English. The example that your teacher said to you is very good. I'm the teacher. I'm here, or the teacher, where is the teacher? I always tell my students, or you know, my future teachers, I shouldn't say this, take it with philosophy, but when you're teaching basic, talk to them like if they were retarded. Where is the teacher? Here or there?
Yes, in that part, I feel so insecure because I feel like they don't understand me. And I don't know if I can continue with the class or stop or go back.
You as a teacher?
I feel like,
You as a teacher or a
I
student?
were English. I was English teacher. Sorry, I was, but
Yes.
in one time I left it, and I'm teacher now, but of a Mexican sign language. But it's
cool.
it's a kind of different. But
The principle is the same, eh?
Yeah, the teach, but in that part with beginners students, I feel so insecure in that part because when they are advanced levels, we can use many words
Advanced
in English,
levels
but in
are the easiest. Advanced levels are the easiest.
But in
Okay,
the
guys,
beginning-
conversation class. Let's talk. No. Basic are the hardest. Okay. Parentheses. Let's do a brainstorming activity for homework then. We all listened to Elizabeth and Elizabeth's concern, yes? What can we suggest to my colleague Elizabeth? Think about it, and next week we discuss it. You can even do research on with the original question. Is it bad to speak Spanish in English class? Google it. Es un tema controversial, eh? There is very wide different opinions. Study it, and then we discuss it next week, okay?
Okay, teacher, thank you.
All right, everybody agrees with homework? Because I guess it's an important topic for us to discuss. All right? Okay, sorry, yes, Antonia?
I had the same question like Elizabeth 3 months ago, but I think it's better teach in English and speak in English. Sometimes it's very difficult when the students don't know English, but any word, it's very difficult because they say, oh my God, no, I don't understand, teacher. One of my students tell me, I don't understand anything. It was very difficult. But I have other students that she, like 2 months ago, told me, Miss, I don't understand you, but I am trying. And now she's better than 2 months ago. But I think the attitude is very important in a student. Es decir, que si se esfuerzan lo logran. Pero si tiran la toalla.
So let's do the homework. Let's do the research. And if you agree that it's better in English, tell us what activities what activities can we do in order to do so. All right, let's call it a day, but let's take a selfie for today. On 3, 1, 2, 3. Good. Okay, I'll send it in a moment. Thank you very much. Sorry, we went over 12. Sorry, but I think it was a very cool class. All right, have a nice weekend. Drink a lot, party a lot, have sex, everything included. Drugs, nah, just kidding. Just rest, okay? I'll see you next week.
Okay. See you,
Yes, thank
everyone.
you.
Take care.
Bye,
Nice
see you.
day.